No, get out of it.
Hello out there in internet land. This is episode 10. Is it episode 10? I think it's episode 10.
Yep.
Episode 10 of the F1 chat. I'm your host, Phil Lamington. Sitting to my left is a man who he's actually quite happy because his McLaren team managed to beat my Ferrari team in last night's race. JB, how are you?
Yeah, not bad actually. I'm pretty proud of both the boys last night. I mean, there's a little bit of choppy weather in the debriefing room, but I mean, we can talk about it later.
Yeah. And sitting to my right is a man who's very... You could hear the cheers of celebration coming when Lance Stroll retired from the race because of technical issues or whatever.
Technical.
It's Longhorn. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well.
Yeah, you must have been really happy when Lance Stroll retired from the race.
Oh, it's just starting to become comical, isn't it? It already was, but you see the yellow flags, like, you know, yellow come up and you go, oh, I bet you it's Stroll. And then they go over it. Lo and behold, who is it? It's Lance Stroll.
It's either going to be Stroll or Latifi.
Yeah.
Did you see Latifi got a 10-second stop-go penalty for it?
Yeah, his engineer moved the car on before they even did the formation lap.
And then he got a penalty for ignoring blue flags.
They're
It's
literally
just
part of
comedy.
the circus. They literally are. It's every race, it just gets better.
Find two guys that want to be out of a drive more than those two.
Mick Schumacher.
Yeah.
But we'll get to him soon. So we're gonna talk about the F1 race from Baku in Azerbaijan, or as our esteemed colleague Barry Enchilada, who's away on assignment, he would call it Abba Jabba Jab.
Yeah, not too far off.
Yeah, Abba Jabba Jab.
About right.
But first, Si Senor Longhorn would like to go over the F2 race.
Yeah, so last week we brought up a little bit about Formula 2. I can't remember what it was, but it sparked my intrigue because I've been watching a lot of the Formula 2. I don't know if you guys have been watching a lot of it this year or...
Well, I've been a little hit
tend
and
to.
miss on it, mate.
Yep. I found myself watching a fair bit of it because it's on earlier than the Formula 1 race. It's usually on an actual decent hour before I'd go to bed. So I've been able to watch it. So made me think, well, since I'm watching it, why don't I talk a little bit about how the race went and give everyone a little bit of a review of the Formula 2 race. So we had two races this week in Formula 2. We had a sprint race at Abba Jabba Jab. And yeah, so the sprint race, pretty interesting, which happens quite often in street circuits with Formula 2. It's usually a sea of yellow, and that's exactly what we got. So to start the sprint race, Jehan Daruvula started from third, but it went into the lead by turn 2 after some great driving off the start. The leader, I think it was Vesti, missed a gear or something, didn't get quite the start he wanted, so... That was pretty much us for the first 14 laps. After that, was pretty much the grid was set and off we went. But then it all changed. It all changed. Lap 14, Dennis Hauger went for a move on Pocher, locked up and went into the barriers. The same corner Vettel went off to. But unfortunately, Hauger didn't get the runoff. He hit the barriers instead. So we got our first yellow flag. 3 laps later, we go to resume the race. You know the straight in Baku, right? So obviously you can't start until we get across the line.
Yes. The control line.
The control line. So literally we had to watch Daruvula just snake all the way down the straight and hold up all the cars because he was trying to find the right time to go. So we watched all of that. We got off again lap 17. And what have I got here? But off the restart, we had another incident involving Fittipaldi, which caused another safety car on turn 1.
It's very typical Formula 2.
Yeah. So,
This is starting to sound more like an IndyCar race. Probably got the same amount of talent as most of the drivers in IndyCar.
Pretty
as well.
much. So yeah, we went into another safety car, which led us to lap 20. So we had another restart again. Daruvula had to do the same snaking maneuver again. He'd raced really well up until this point. And then, unfortunately, on the restart, turn 1, locked the tyres, and Vesti took the lead. Then as we watched all the cars come down to turn 2, we see a massive crash going on in the background in turn 1. So immediately again, we've had another crash on turn 1 on the restart. So, well, lo and behold, what we get? Yellow flags. So we ended up finishing under yellow flags, and unfortunately, Zaruvla finished in second. Vesti took the lead because obviously he got in front, and then we went under yellow flag conditions again. And that race ended up finish. I'll give you the top 3. Vesti wins under yellow flag conditions ahead of Daruvula. Ending the sprint race, we had Frederick Vesti first, Johan Daruvula second, and Liam Lawson third. So that was the end of the sprint race. So that ended the sprint race. So now we get on to the main race, where we had Yuri Vips starting on pole, the young Red Bull driver. So, yet again, on the first lap, we have another crash.
Yet again.
Involving Cordial and Cardwell. And which I don't think that actually caused yellow flags, though. Well, caused yellow flags initially, but we didn't get a safety car, luckily. So then we got a bunch of steady racing until lap 12, when we had another crash. Lap 12, Roy Nassani tangled with Cam Bollock-Barsi, who's the esports convert driver into Formula 2. Crashing into turn 2, causing another yellow flag. So, after that, we restarted. Yuri Vips had the lead, who, as I said before, was in pole, so he was leading the race. So we get back to normal racing, and because we had so many flags and conditions, we went down to a timer rather than laps. So we had about 6 minutes left of racing to go. Yuri Vips was in the lead by a few seconds and looking set to win the race, when he decided to bin his car into the castle walls.
He decided to.
In
that moment, he was like, you know what? Fuck this shit.
Which has been a bit of a struggle for Vips. This year, he's had a few races that he seems to push it a bit too much when he doesn't need to, and he's crashed.
Yep.
It was upsetting for him because it would have been his first win, I think, in Formula 2.
That sounds like a certain driver for Ferrari, doesn't it?
Yes. Very much.
To push it.
Very much. Fast, very quick, but just, pressure's on. Doesn't go the right way. So, that crash, of course, caused, what do we know?
Safety car.
Another safety car.
Woo!
So, after that crash, that put Dennis Hauger into the lead, and unfortunately, we seen out the rest of the race under yellow flag conditions. Okay, safety car. But that gave Dennis Hauger his first ever F2 race. So, the podium finish ended up being Dennis Hauger 1, Logan Sargent 2, the young American driver.
Oh, good on him.
And Felipe Dragovic 3rd, who is the current driver standing champion.
Yeah, you go.
Which I'll quickly get into just to finish off. This is the top 10 in the driver standings for the Formula 2. So in 1, we have Felipe Dragovic, the young Brazilian driver, with 132 points. In 2nd, we have Théo Pourchaire, the young French driver, I believe he is, with 83 points. In 3rd, we have Jahan Daruvula, young Indian driver, with 73 points. In 4th, Logan Sargent, the young American driver, 59. In 5th, Dennis Hauger, I think he's Danish, with 55 points. In 6th, we have the young Kiwi, Marcus Armstrong, with 55 points. In 7th, we have the crazy Estonian, Yuri Vips, with 51 points. In 8th, we have Enzo Fittipaldi with 50 points. In 9, a young Australian, Jack Doohan, who, if you are thinking of that name, yes, you are correct. That is Formula MotoGP World Champion Mick Doohan's son.
Yes.
Hang on, isn't Jack Doohan the current F3 champion? Didn't he win last year's F3 championship?
No. No, he didn't. But he got promoted from F3 up.
Okay.
This is his first year in Formula 2.
Yeah.
I don't think he won.
I'm not sure.
It was close, though.
He
I think.
was close. Because I know we might be confusing it with Oscar Piastri winning the Formula 2 title.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Doohan definitely didn't win it last year. It was Piastri winning Formula 2.
Yeah, I just... Doohan... I don't know, I keep thinking Doohan did. Oh, that's really great. He-
He did.
That's for sure. To round out the top 10, we've got another young Kiwi, Liam Lawson, with 44 points, and that is the Formula 2 wrap-up for this week.
He was runner-up, two-time runner-up, 2019, 2020.
There you go.
Right.
Who won it? Hauger?
Possibly.
Yeah, I think it was Hauger.
Yeah, not sure.
We'll go with Hauger.
We'll go with Hauger.
I will say, as I'm choking on a corn chip, I shouldn't actually be eating while I'm doing this shit. Professionalism gone out the window. But I will say, I watched a little bit of it, and there is some talent in GP2, like in F2.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Teo Porcher, he really caught my eye.
He can drive.
Logan Sargent, he in terms of driving, he kind of reminds me of Maverick from Top Gun, or more Jester's appraisal of him, where he's like completely unpredictable and flies by the seat of his pants.
Yep.
Yeah.
That seems like Logan Sargent to me.
That would be him for sure.
I like Dragovic. I've had my eye on Dragovic for a while.
He's come out this year and
he's
just
getting there.
smashing it, yeah.
And Deruval has been there for fucking years. He's been there or there.
But I noticed there's a lot of drivers in F2 that are Red Bull Academy.
Yeah, there's heaps.
Yeah.
There's quite a few.
They're all knocking on the door for fucking AlphaTauri seats. Which is why they're like...
I wouldn't know how you'd pick them apart at the moment
Oh, yeah.
to get in, you know?
I think Deruvala.
I think so. I think going off this year, he's driven the better of the Red Bull juniors.
I think Roy Nassani is the Williams Academy driver.
Yep.
I'm amazed they can scrounge up enough money to have a driver academy.
Hugh will probably take Latifi's seat at this rate.
Nah, no way.
We'll get to that soon. So that was F2. So now we're going to hand it over to JB with the F1 report.
All right. So, after the fucking chaos of Formula 2 subsided, we got the chaos of Formula 1 started. So, the 2022 Azerbaijan Grand Prix from the streets of Baku City. All right, lap 1. Ferrari's Charles Leclerc starts on pole position from Red Bull's Sergio Perez and Max Verstappen. Charles Leclerc locks up on the outside of turn 1 and Sergio Perez dives into the lead. Lap 3, Nicholas Latifi is given a 10-second stop-go penalty for a grid infringement. Mechanics pushing the car back into its grid slot after the 15-second warning siren. Lap 9, Carlos Sainz has a hydraulic failure in his Ferrari and he retires from another Grand Prix. Virtual safety car is deployed and a slew of pit stops ensue. Charles Leclerc having a bad stop, falling to third behind both Red Bulls who did not stop. Lap 13, Sebastian Vettel goes for a move on Ocon but locks up and runs off, losing out to Ocon, Hamilton and Tsunoda. Lap 15, Max Verstappen passes teammate Sergio Perez for the lead of the race. Lap 17, Sergio Perez fits for a fresh set of hard tyres after taking the life out of his first set. He falls to third with a rough stop, George Russell on his tail. Lap 18, Lewis Hamilton gets past Esteban Ocon into ninth. Max Verstappen pits for hard tyres, giving the lead of the race to Charles Leclerc. Lap 20, Charles Leclerc's engine explodes, a double DNF for Ferrari. Lap 22, Pierre Gasly gets past Daniel Ricciardo after Ricciardo was told to hold station behind Lando Norris earlier in the race. Lap 23, Zhou Guanyu is forced to retire as well. Lap 33, Kevin Magnussen's Haas has a power unit failure, one lap after being told it was critical to pass Ocon due to overheating. Lap 34, VSC deployed a slew of pit stops happening. Daniel Ricciardo, a massive winner, getting a great opportunity to stop and not lose track position, staying in ninth ahead of Lando Norris. Lap 38, Yuki Tsunoda is forced to pit in his Alpine after the DRS actuator on his rear wing breaks. His rear wing becoming unstable, AlphaTauri tapes it with duct tape, but the FIA gets straight onto them. Lap 44, Lewis Hamilton gets past Pierre Gasly into fourth. Lap 48, Lance Stroll retires in his Aston Martin. And lap 51, Max Verstappen wins the Azerbaijan Grand Prix from Red Bull teammate Sergio Perez and Mercedes' George Russell. Lewis Hamilton gets driver of the day. Sergio Perez gets fastest lap.
And then after Hamilton gets fourth in the race, Pierre Gasly comes fifth. Sebastian Vettel comes sixth. Fernando Alonso is seventh. Daniel Ricciardo does really well, gets into eighth, ahead of his teammate Lando Norris in ninth. We'll talk about that soon. 10th is Esteban Ocon. 11th is Valtteri Bottas. 12th is Alex Albon. 13th is Yuki Tsunoda. 14th is Mick Schumacher. 15th is Nicholas Latifi. And then behind him, DNFing was Lance Stroll in 16th, Kevin Magnussen in 17th, Zhou Guan Yu in 18th, Charles Leclerc in 19th, and Carlos Sainz in 20th. I have to be honest with you. Once Leclerc's engine went bang phooey, my interest in this race drastically went down.
I'll be honest, it wasn't a great race to watch compared to what we had previously at Baku.
The saving grace for this race was it started like an hour earlier than usual. 2 hours earlier than usual.
Yeah.
Actually, I think the saving graces for this race were Hamilton and Vettel, oddly enough.
They had some pretty good drives.
Yeah.
Actually, my personal driver of the day was Pierre Gasly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he drove brilliantly.
He did.
I honestly was going to go with Vettel.
Yep.
And then I saw Hamilton try and get out of the car afterwards, and I was just like, you know what? I know I put shit on him, but he seems like he is in an insane amount of pain. They're actually saying he might not make it to Canada.
Yeah, he's fucking like... Spinal injuries aren't to be fucking light. Like, you can have like a compressed disc or some shit.
Yeah, easy.
But
like, holy fuck.
As Paul di Resta was saying on commentary, like, they need to raise the ride height, because he said, I don't think it's entirely the porpoising that's causing it. I think the ride height is so low with that car that the porpoising is causing the bottom to bottom out.
Yeah, it's bouncing off the tarmac, which is more than
Yeah, it's actually hitting
the
it.
actual porpoising effect, yeah.
And what is annoying is that if it is the ride height, and I've heard the Mercedes are unwilling to sort of do anything about it at the moment because they're in fearful of losing lap time. But I'm sorry, like, I don't care. You got to put a safe car out there for your driver to drive that's not going to destroy his back by race 6. If you got to lose some lap time, that's your fault for developing a poor car. You got to lose some lap time and then work on it until you can get it to be quicker again.
George Russell was saying that 3, 4, 5 races ago.
Yeah, this is what we wanted to see.
Like,
with
George
new
Russell
race.
is like, I'm being physically hurt by the porpoising.
Yeah.
And now Lewis Hamilton can barely fucking walk after the race. Like, he was sore.
But someone, I can't remember who, was saying that George Russell is asking for an exemption in the salary cap for Mercedes to develop the car so it doesn't porpoise.
Yep, I heard that, and no, get
No.
out of it. No, wait, we want to... You know what would be great is if some of these top teams start dropping because all of a sudden their budget goes blown out of the water and they can't bring upgrades or can't do fixes to their car, and then all of a sudden some of these bottom teams that have been doing it for years start jumping up in the second half of the season. Wouldn't that be a great season to watch? Like, tale of two halves, rather than, from here on out we're just going to see Red Bull and Ferrari can fix their problems, dominate.
Apparently Ferrari, Mercedes and Red Bull have all asked for the salary cap to be raised next season.
No, piss off.
That's going to happen.
And Haas, Alfa Romeo, Alpine, they've all come out and said, how about fucking no?
Yeah. This was to level the fucking playing field, so fucking play within the rules.
Yeah. If you can't afford to do it like the other teams can, then too bad. Too bad. Like, you don't. Why do you get special exemptions to be at the top?
Yeah,
That's what this was
McLaren
for.
doesn't porpoise fuck all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They asked Lando Norris after the race, like, Lewis is all banged up. How's the McLaren? And he's like, my road car handle, like, it feels like driving a road car.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm fine. Like, we've got no porpoising. We haven't had porpoising issues all year.
Most other constructors haven't. It's just the Mercedes that are struggling with it.
Yeah. Well, they're going to have to bite the bullet and raise the ride height.
Yeah, and if you have
What do
to
you want?
lose
Like-
lap time
Yeah,
in
like-
the short term to fix it, that's what you have to do. You don't get special exemption or blueprints on how to fix it from other teams. Piss off.
Yeah,
You're
this,
losing-
isn't,
you're
this
lo-
isn't V8 supercars where, because the Fords were doing so shit, that they had to give them how Holden were doing the front wings.
Yeah, it also wasn't how the Mustangs were so fast they had to aerodynamically tweak them so the Holdens could keep up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
First
Formula One doesn't
but-
work like that.
Yeah, but you know what my point is?
Yeah, I understand the point.
Mercedes can't get special exemption.
Mercedes have to draw a line in the sand. They either lose lap time or they're going to lose their fucking drivers because they're going to be hurt.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah, well, look, they've already...
Like like Lewis Hamilton may not race in Canada, like legitimately, because he's fucked. Like,
Yeah.
so race the right on. You're going to have to lose lap time. Shit happens. Your car fucking design didn't work.
Yeah, that's right. You've got to go down another path and fix it in the meantime. You can't just...
Like, the Ferrari is porpoising, but they're not complaining about it. Obviously, it's not as bad, but I love seeing the camera inside the helmet shots.
Yeah.
We can see how much the car is shaking and vibrating.
Yeah.
But clearly Ferrari and Red Bull and McLaren and even Alpine seem to have figured out how to minimize it.
Yeah.
But Mercedes just sitting there going, we don't know how to fix it. So
if you've
give
got
us...
these fucking top team with all these top fucking designers, how come all these mid-car teams have figured it out?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Like McLaren hasn't had any porpoising issues at all, and they're not breaking the bank on fucking technical engineers and shit.
But I did also notice that the porpoising issues are worse on the street circuits.
No, because the street circuits are bumpy, naturally bumpy.
Well, here's my question to you guys then. Do you think the time of the street circuit might be coming to an end?
No, fucking no.
Hope not.
They're fucking moving towards street circuits.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
fucking just had
We're
a
going to Vegas.
we just had
Yeah.
Miami. We're going
Yeah.
to Vegas.
Yeah, it's going to be the theme
We
of
still got to
Formula
go.
One for
We've
a
still
bit.
got to go to Singapore.
Yeah, I think that, and all the new races are going to come in. I think they're going to start choosing cities like they have Vegas, so it's all going to be street circuited.
I hope not, though. I would like to see less street circuits and more traditional circuits, but
I'd like to see more of the classic circuits come
well,
back.
as Crofty said, we're going to Canada, and then I think he said they're going to Silverstone, and Silverstone's flat.
Yep.
Like Silverstone, he said, we're going to the billiard table of Silverstone, so it'll be interesting to see what the porpoising looks like at Silverstone on a track that's like, as he said, billiard table smooth.
Because we've got
yeah.
got Canada next week. 2 weeks after that is Silverstone.
Yeah,
2 weeks after that is Austria.
that's another flattish track.
Then you got Paul Ricard,
That's a very flat track.
and then Hungary,
Yeah, so
and then our mid-season special.
yeah, so it's flat. It's good. So
Plenty of time to do your homework, JB.
For your mid-season special.
yeah, well, fuck.
Plenty of time to procrastinate and do it on the last day.
I can't wait to procrastinate for 3 months and fucking do it on the night before.
But I think that look, I don't think Canada has a lot of bounce in that track though. Like it is rather flat.
That's not what they're saying.
Yeah, well, I've played the fucking video game.
Yeah, well, you're not in a race car.
I'm not in a Mercedes.
The controller vibrates for a reason. You're not in an entire car that's slamming against the floor at 330 k's an hour.
Yeah, but I mean, depending on the weather, they might have to actually raise the ride height anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think if the only reason they're not doing it is just because they're fearful of lap time, I just think that's crap. Like, look after your drivers. They can't be getting out of the car like Hamilton did after that race just because you want to save some seconds on the lap
Or
time.
if
you developed it poorly, that is on you. Make it safer for your driver and get through it, and then try and figure out how to make it faster and not break his back. Like,
Well, if the FIA wants to make it safe, then set a minimum ride height. Set a minimum ride height so
Yep.
it's flat all the way across the board.
But again, that's fucking disadvantages all the teams that have got it figured out.
that's
yeah,
right.
that's right.
That have set it to the right
That's
height.
right.
Yeah.
Let Mercedes fucking bite the bullet because they're going to have to.
Let
Yeah.
them have to.
Let
Yeah,
them make
Hamilton
the fucking
sit out.
decision.
Yeah, let Hamilton have to sit out, and they got to put a reserve driver in, and or let them eventually have to do it to the point where they start losing lap time. Like, and if this was all 10 teams, like we all can't figure this out, and every driver's getting out like Hamilton, step in, do
Yeah, if drivers,
exemptions galore. But
if
one
we,
team,
if we had already lost drivers because of the porpoising, like if people were like legitimately missing races because this was a field-wide problem,
yeah.
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 Okay, something's got to be fucking done.
But it's one team.
It's one fucking team.
I mean, would there be an uproar if this was Kevin? We'll go G.I. Joe at Alfa Romeo if he was having this problem. Would there be like, an exemption. We need an exemption for Alfa Romeo.
Or fucking Mick
And we go, oh,
Schumacher.
too bad, so sad. It's a small team. You haven't
Yeah.
figured it out.
Yeah, you're in an Alfa Romeo. Who
Yeah.
gives a fuck?
That's it. Yeah, you're an Alfa Romeo. That's what happens when you too
Or
bad,
a Haas
Mercedes.
or a Williams.
Yeah.
You know, they wouldn't give a shit.
We
I mean,
don't have to
I
see
mean,
Mercedes at the
Don't,
top.
don't get me wrong. Like, if it happened to Lance Stroll or Nicholas Latifi, I'd be like, "Pfft, who cares?
Yeah, I wouldn't care. But
Yeah. But
The point is, it's not a field-wide issue. It's one fucking team. So figure it out, Mercedes.
yeah.
yeah.
Put your fucking big boy pants on and fucking grab your nutsack and make a fucking call.
Yep.
It's not
So
all
now,
about
now
you.
we get to the question that I really want an answer on. The fuck is going on at Ferrari? So after we just had an ice cream break,
That was
what
the
the
that was the
background
best
was.
stoppage of all time.
Yeah.
Thank you, ice cream man, for like dismantling me.
Thank you, Mr. Whippy.
I walked out there and my ears jumped off.
that was Johnny after the spray the Iceman guy gave him. He became Mr.
Whippy
Whippy,
did.
Mr. Whoopin.
For those of you following at home, Parramatta just
Whip
got
boy.
smashed by the Bulldogs. So I walked out there in my Parramatta jumper and was subjected to horrendous abuse.
And he didn't even know what the score was.
He didn't need to. He just laughed a lot. And he was absolutely right in his judgment.
But at
Wait-
least you got
wait
your
till he-
sherbet cone
He's
With a
lucky
flake.
with a flake.
he makes a good ice cream. Wait until he finds out the score, because I'm glad I'm not around him then.
Right, so yeah, my previous question was, what the hell is going on with Ferrari? Like, their reliability has gone to shit. They're making dumb decisions. And look, at the start of the season, I said this was going to come down to Red Bull's reliability versus Charles Leclerc performing a bottle job.
How the,
And the
turns have tabled.
Yeah. The turns have tabled.
The turns have fucking tabled.
It seems to
on
be
that
the
one.
theme this year. Every time we set in something and think, oh, you know, like as you were saying, the start of the year, the Red Bull's reliability, or if you go back to testing, we were like, oh, Haas isn't going to be too good. Then, boom, Haas come out and they were actually half decent. Not so much now. But
I mean, as fucking gutting as it is for you, Mr. Phil, how cool is it that, like, this season's completely unpredictable?
yes, it's great.
Because 3 races into the year, Ferrari were walking away with this fucking thing. Like, no one was going to catch them. It's like, oh, they've got 6 months development head start on this car, and it fucking shows. And now, Max Verstappen, who fucking finished, 1 out of the first 3 races, is now leading the championship, and Sergio Perez is second.
And he's right in it.
And he's right fucking in it. Like, the pendulum of reliability has swung so quickly and dramatically back to the Red Bull power unit that I don't know if Ferrari's had time to react.
Well, they're not going to be able to react in a week.
Well, they're not, no.
But you know, you can honestly chalk it up to freak accidents with this stuff. But what happened with Monaco 2 weeks ago? It's almost like it's 2019 Ferrari all over again. You've got Charles Leclerc performing a bottle job like he did at Imola. You've got car unreliability
Yeah,
like what happened in I think it was Bahrain
yeah,
in 2019.
yeah.
Yeah, and you've got stupid strategy calls, like what happened at Monaco 2 weeks ago, which was majority of 2019.
Yeah, it's just... When it rains, it pours, really. Like, Ferrari are starting to come under reliability pressure, and they're starting to hit the panic button a bit.
And I mean, like, Zhou Guan Yu had a engine issue.
That poor guy, that's like his 3rd or 4th DNF with,
I think
with
Kevin-
reliability issues.
I think K-Mag had an engine issue.
That's 4
Last week he did,
That's
yep.
4 Ferrari engines
Yeah.
in one race, like Ferrari power units, all at the same time. Like, I don't know what Ferrari has to do to fix that power unit, but the fact that it's been so sudden and so quick.
After a few races, like no sign of
Yeah.
it for the first few, and then all of a sudden, just
Yeah,
complete
the Honda,
unreliability.
the Honda power unit or the fucking HRC power unit, whatever they fucking call it, you know, looked shaky, got off to a shaky start, but now that it's fucking got a bit of an even keel going, it's looking really strong and quick. So I don't know what Ferrari does or how they're going to react to this.
I think, though, like obviously Ferrari are going to take penalties later on in the season.
That's a given.
That's a given. I still have this part of me that thinks that Red Bull's going to hit reliability issues, and I think it's going to be later on in the season.
They will. They will, absolutely. And while we're here on the subject, the Alpine engine, holy shit, was the fastest this weekend in a straight line.
Yeah.
350.
50.
Yeah, pretty much topped 350 down the straight. Fernando Alonso cracked like 340.
348, I think it was.
348 in race trim.
Yeah.
That's fucking quick.
Yeah.
You know, and the McLarens were the slowest, but they had to also have the most downforce on because they've got the least grip. They've got fucking reliability issues. But yeah, I mean, well, they've got grip issues. But it looks like a lot of the engine manufacturers are starting to find their groove a bit, you know, which is probably worrying for Ferrari because, you know, the Honda power unit seems the fastest and the most reliable.
Yeah.
It's definitely the fastest.
Yeah, it's the fastest.
Alpine's come back into the fold now. The Mercedes engine isn't the quickest, but it seems relatively bulletproof across all its teams, except for Stroll, but I'm not sure his was engine-related this time around.
Stroll's is just Stroll-related.
Yeah, just retired for lack of talent.
For a lack of vision past his
Couldn't-
eyebrows.
Couldn't bear to watch it anymore.
He got an eyebrow.
Poor
in his
engines
eye.
are sitting there going, why'd you put me in Stroll's fucking car? Put me in Vettel's car, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, shout out
Fuck.
to Seb Vettel. What a
Yeah,
fucking drive.
he had an
Yeah.
amazing drive too.
Yeah.
Considering he went, how good was his turn as well? You know, when he went off, because he
Yeah.
overcooked it.
And he just flicked
Just
it.
flicked it right back round, straight back on.
Anyone
Just,
else, it would have been a 5-point turn. He
I would
just,
have loved to have seen Lance Stroll try and do the same thing.
It'd
If
still
we
be
go
there
back-
trying to get out.
If we go back to the reference of that fucking Aston Martin thing they did, Lance Stroll would have like stalled it. He'd be walking back to the pits by now, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ferrari's got to do something because if they want to stay in this championship fight, they got to fix whatever the fuck is broken on that thing.
The good thing is they're not out of it yet, but
No.
they will
But-
need to reverse fortune rather hastily.
If they don't have good races in the next couple of races, and I don't think they'll win Canada.
No, I don't think
What-
they'll do well in Canada, but they need to
Canada-
be aiming for well at Silverstone.
I don't think they'll do well at Silverstone either.
Yeah.
And I think Austria might be a turning point for them.
I don't know, man.
But
Those
out
bulls
and
like
out power circuits like Canada, even Silverstone to a degree is an out and out power circuit.
it. Yeah. to a
Paul
degree.
Ricard, I think they're screwed at Paul Ricard.
If they can't be the best, they're going to need to be the next best.
Yeah.
They're going to need, if they can't win, they're going to need to be second.
They need points, not DNFs. Particularly Carlos Sainz, he needs points.
Yeah, I feel fucking sorry for him. It wasn't
Yeah.
his fault this time.
No, same with Leclerc. It wasn't his fault.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? But, right, so moving on. So we've spoken about it before. Poor old Lewis Hamilton getting out of the car, just beaten up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not a good sign.
I think now I'm starting to really think that if he keeps getting beaten up like this, he is going to call it a day.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
this
yeah.
And
isn't going to help
I
cause.
don't blame him.
He might have to because of pure, like, physically he might have to. If
How
they
old
don't
is
do
he
anything.
now? 35?
38.
38? Fuck. Yeah, he might. Like, he's not a spring chicken no more.
No.
Like, he made...
Oh, wait, no, he's 36.
Yeah,
he's
I don't think he was that old. He's like,
That's not
what?
old.
Oh, he's 4 years older than me. That's old enough. You know, I mean, but... Yeah, like, he's not a spring chicken anymore, like, in terms of athletically. Like, he's not going to bounce back from a back injury like this. I mean, he's going to be on the physio table all week, no doubt.
Yeah.
You know, and he's got a car that's semi-competitive but not going to challenge for race wins. And, you know, if he's getting beaten up and the car's not to his liking, all this is going to do is accelerate his exit from the sport.
Well, there's two drivers that are in line to replace him, like to fill in for him, if he can't make it to Canada this week, in Nick de Vries
Yeah.
And your other favourite driver, the dessert, Stoffel Van Dorn.
Yeah. That'd be
I'd
good.
like to see Stoffel get a crack.
I'd like to see Stoffel get a crack too. I'd like to see De Vries get a crack. I'm happy
Yeah.
with either.
Yeah. I want to see De Vries get a crack.
I think De Vries was he at the Indianapolis 500 or was he at Le Mans? One of the two this weekend, just gone. So he's in a car and active, which is good.
Well, he is the Formula E champion.
Yeah, he was in the Williams for testing at Barcelona as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so at least he's not going to come in cold cocks like Hulkenberg did.
No.
All right, moving on from Lewis. So we get the AlphaTauri and its broken rear wing. Look, what do you guys think about this?
Why not?
I've never seen anything like this before. Half a wing.
I think that car should have been black flagged.
No.
No.
I think they fixed it like it wasn't going to fly. What Phil is referencing, because he hasn't explained it, well, I sort of explained it in the recap, was Yuki Tsunoda came in, his rear wing actuator broke. So half his rear wing was flapping open under DRS and half wasn't. So what AlphaTauri did when they got a black and orange flag was come in, duct tape the shit out of it and send it back out.
But they sent it out before the FIA
The FIA
guy.
was coming down to
loved it,
warn him, and they set it out before he got there.
What are you going to do now?
And the FIA didn't do a fucking thing about it either. Like, they could have called him back in, and they didn't. So, they had every right to... And I thought they were going to. I thought he'd go out for a lap and the FIA just call him back in and retire the car. But they didn't.
I'm glad they let it go
I'm
on.
glad they let him have a fucking... Yeah, Chris...
Why not?
You can't... Yeah, what? It's not going to fly off and hit anyone.
No, if it's super dangerous, yeah, I'm all for it. But, like, in this case, like...
Well, they did say to him, you can't use DRS anymore.
Yeah, well, that's why they were taping it down would have stopped that.
Fucking
So
taped.
that was obvious. But yeah, I had no problem when they did it. I laughed. I was like, oh, how good is this? Right in front of the FIA, they've just come out with tape and just taped it down. Like, slap that on that bad boy. Off you go.
You see that type of thing happen in V8 supercars.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
just
fine.
cocoon it in gaff tape.
It's like
fucking
that,
lucky
them late night ads where it's like they got the tape that can fix like a hole in a boat. And they got like a tank with a hole and they just slap it on and the hole just the water stops. It's like that's what they did, and I was like, oh
God.
that's so good.
You
Like,
just
good on 'em.
reminded me of this stuff you used to buy in a can. It was like a TV ad. And it was they'd had like water go through a strainer, and then you spray this stuff on it, and the strainer goes hard, and no water comes through it. And I'm like, they should have had that shit on there.
I love it, guys. Just a thing of Sikaflex. You're not gonna fucking go nowhere. Just a ratchet strap. You gotta do the thing. It's like, that ain't gonna go nowhere.
Gonna give it the tap.
Yeah, no, good. I'd fucking love it. And all the memes this morning were like multi-million-dollar sport. Fixed with duct tape. There's nothing duct tape can do. What's the adage? If it fucking moves and it shouldn't, duct tape. If it doesn't move and it should move, WD-40.
Pretty much.
Brilliant. Good on AlphaTauri. They did it and they got away with it.
Yeah.
And Tsunoda, I don't know where he finished.
Unlucky because he was actually racing pretty well. He was
13th.
13th, from that, yeah.
Well, he was up. The AlphaTauri's had a good running this
Yeah,
week. They were right up there.
Tsunoda was behind Gasly. Like, they were on for some good points until that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm cool with it. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have a photo up for it yet, but there will be a photo that should be up somewhere around about now-ish. But the little stuff going on between Lando Norris and Daniel Ricciardo.
Oh, boy.
You know what? I'm going to give my take before I hand it over to JB here. And Longhorn, jump in before JB, all
as I
right?
said. Yep.
So JB's going to get pushed down the batting order in response to this. I think that because... Okay. They knew Ricciardo had better pace than Lando Norris.
Yep.
And yet the team said, hold station. And then later on in the race, while Norris is behind Ricciardo, they said, we're thinking about swapping positions and
If
giving
he
Norris a crack at it.
Yeah, if he had a chance to catch Alonso.
To me, that it was really coming across to me that McLaren were trying to fuck over Ricciardo.
It felt definitely like they're favouring their... It felt like Red Bull with Verstappen. They were like that with Norris, if that makes sense. When Norris is the golden boy and it's do everything in your power to let Norris have a good race, and whatever happens to the other driver doesn't matter. Because at that time, why didn't they let Ricciardo through? Like, it felt like that all they did was favour Norris's strategy and didn't care about Ricciardo's. They just didn't have any care for it. It was like, if not, we'll go on with Norris's and what, Ricciardo? What do you want? Oh yeah, we just got to wait to see if the overtake can work on Alonso or was it the undercut or were they trying to undercut Alonso? They were miles off. Like, they're telling Ricciardo that's what they wanted to go for, but they were so far off. It's like you weren't even in with a chance of that. So what are you?
And then
doing?
Later on in the race, they're like, "Oh, we'll swap the positions and let Norris have a crack." Well, you should have let Ricciardo have a crack earlier in the race.
Yeah.
You know,
And it stuffed up his race, right? And what was it? He was on the hards, right? So he was going for the longest stint. So it compromised his race, and he ended up getting eaten up by Gasly, where I think he even said, like, let me through before I get caught up from Gasly, like, why I can go. And, like, it would have worked perfect into his strategy. He would have won, and then they got the safety car as he needed, or it was the virtual safety car. So he got to pit by lap 30 or whatever, but it had already been lost by then. Like, the move was to let him through and let him go, but...
And Lando Norris is complaining, like, I know it's the team strategy, but they should have let me through. It's like, well, he didn't pass you. And on the last lap, Norris did try to have a crack at Ricciardo.
Yeah, he opened DRS on the straight.
And pulled aside, you know.
Yeah.
And you're just sitting there going, that really irritated me. Like, Daniel Ricciardo's taken fire for not having a great season. And then they pull this shit.
Yep.
Yeah, you just
Maybe feel real bad for Danny Rick. He actually was having a really good race and was putting it in. It's like they just didn't want a bar of him.
Yeah.
It's like they don't want him. And I'm like, he's still a great driver. Like, I've had my criticism of the way he's driven, unfortunately, this car. But you got to say, McLaren hasn't given Danny Rick the greatest go of it. As in, they haven't given him a great car. They haven't given him the car that he wants. They've gone with a design that he doesn't want, and it suits more of Lando Norris, which wasn't what you promised Danny Rick and paid him big money to come in and do. So then you're upset his performance and you make comments about him, you know, basically there's clauses in the contract or whatever to get him out, which, why are you making those comments when unless you are getting rid, like, because you're just going to create this weird friction. And then, bang, he comes out and is having a decent race and you completely compromise him for a worse-off strategy that Lando Norris had. Like, I didn't sit well with me at all as well.
JB.
Well, we'll agree to disagree, boys. Because Lando Norris, in the end, was trying to overcut Alonso and didn't work. And Denny Rick was told to hold station behind him. And then, come the end of the race, when Lando Norris wanted to have a crack at Ricciardo, they told Lando Norris to sit station because there were multiple chances where his DRS was open and he was rolling off the throttle early. Well, I think they realised that they had compromised Daniel Ricciardo's race behind Lando, so they gave him one back and said, look, Lando, don't fucking attack him, just bring the car home in points, which was the fucking goal after the last couple of races, was to get both boys in the points. So I think Daniel Ricciardo was actually protected at the end here. Well, I don't think they fucked him over at all. I think they helped him.
But at the... because I read that entire article. Unfortunately, it was by Fox Sports.
Oh, no.
But I read the entire article, and Lando said, like, they told me I had one lap to stay behind him, and then I could have a go. And it's just like...
I don't know. There's a lot more behind the scenes to it.
Yeah.
To me,
is, yeah.
I think letting Ricciardo finish ahead of Norris was an apology for early in the race for not letting Ricciardo have a crack.
I agree. As you were saying before, you said they helped him. I don't think they helped him. I think they drew back even because they did not help him at all when they should have. And like you said, they realised and should have. That's why they tried to keep it the finishing.
I think they played it with the straightest bat they could. Unfortunately, Now we've got two fucking drivers sitting in the debriefing room,
Like, yeah.
50-50, thinking they've both been fucked over.
But this also goes into was what's going on at McLaren? And, like, the strategy calls, how do you stuff that up so bad that you have to then at the end sort of to sugarcoat it, you have to sort of compromise the other drivers, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, they've made some fucking head-scratching decisions lately.
it just doesn't seem to be operating well.
They've got a car that hasn't got any grip. It does
They've also
not,
don't have a fast car.
It's
and
not,
you need power.
That's why they needed the extra downforce. That's why they were slowest in the speed trap set of anyone. Because the car doesn't have any fucking mechanical grip. That's the problem. So when they've got to take chances on hard tyres, they've got hard tyres that take longer to warm up than everyone else's. So when they shove Ricciardo on medium tyres in the hope that the tyres will fire up quicker, and they do, and then they just fucking burn out for whatever reason.
Barely works.
Because they've got so much downforce in the fucking car.
Yeah.
It's just grinding the rubber into the fucking road.
That was frustrating to watch. Like, when he got on those mediums, like, here we go, he's going to make a little bit of a charge up.
No.
And he closed the gap from Alonso to about a second, and then all of a sudden it just opened back up. Just kept going. I'm like...
Yeah, the car's not great. The car's got no grip, so they've got to work every fucking weekend around this fucking car that's got this problem that they can't fix at the moment. And no matter what they do, they fucking keep running into a dead end.
I think that's been the story of McLaren since, 2015?
Well, no, because last year's car was fucking good.
Well, up until after Sochi.
Yeah, but the car was still good. I think the luck ran out. The car was still good. Lando was going to win Sochi. They won Tude Monza, and Lando was going to win Sochi. And I think they're in a good position to win the race after it as well. You know, last year's car was fucking good. They just ran out of luck at the end. This year's car has had its fucking flaws from testing to now. We started with the fucking brake issue at Bahrain that they barely got sorted. And now they realise the car's got no fucking mechanical grip. It doesn't porpoise, which is good, but it's got no fucking mechanical grip. So now they keep trying to find workarounds on tyre strategies, but every time they fucking try a workaround, it just compromises one or both drivers. So they're running around in circles. They've got a car that they're trying to upgrade, but Lando Norris said today that there's no big upgrade package coming, at least not quickly, so he seems quite depressed in the press pen, actually. He says, I'm trying to stay positive, and the Rosanna Tennant, I think, was interviewing him, the chick, and she's like, you say you try to be positive, but I'm not getting a very positive vibe out of you. And she's like, is there anything coming? And he's like, not really. He's like, there's things coming, but these things take time. So it's not going to be a fucking very fun, prosperous year.
Yeah, it just feels like the McLaren's gone on a downward spiral.
I wouldn't say it's a spiral. I think they've got a good car once they fucking figure it out. Like, I think the package is
Anyone's got a good car once they figure it out, JB.
Considering, yeah, but it doesn't porpoise.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but it also doesn't go fast.
Yeah.
It doesn't porpoise, but it's got to get the grip issues.
It's fundamentally flawed.
Yeah.
Something's wrong with it.
I think their design philosophy is flawed. Whatever path they've gone down, I think it's flawed, and I don't think they're going to fix it this year at all.
If I can be devil's advocate here, I think half of McLaren's problem is that they don't have a wind tunnel, do they?
No, they're building it. It's completed next year.
Yeah, so I think it's a couple of more years of pain for McLaren until that wind tunnel.
It's a fucking guessing game until then.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, they're the only team on the grid with a pull rod front suspension. Everyone else went push rod. Or the other way around. No, pull rod. McLaren, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's pull rod. Yeah. Everyone else has got push rod front suspension. McLaren's the only team on the grid that gambled on pull rod. So they've fucking gambled.
Yeah, and I
don't
think
think the car's a dog box per se. I think it's got its problems, but it's better than most of the grid.
Yeah, but that's easy said done when you're McLaren. You're expected to be better than Haas and Williams and all this kind of stuff.
Well, Aston Martin's expected to be good too, and they're not.
Right, but at least they're still a youngish team in terms of, Aston Martin's this is only what, third year of Aston Martin?
Yeah, look, McLaren wouldn't be happy losing out to AlphaTauri all the fucking time.
Yeah,
They
AlphaTauri clearly seems a better car
They fucking know that.
this
And,
weekend.
Yeah, you're right. It's going to be short-term pain.
It just feels like not only is it not going anywhere, but now you're starting to see, like, you know, it's not a happy driving. Like, it just seems to be there's more going on other than the development of the car, if that makes sense. Like, it's not like everything else is happy, but we just got to keep working on this car. It's like we're working on this car and nothing seems to be getting better. And now our strategies are shit. And now we're like, you know, the drivers are like, you know what I mean? It just seems to be
It's
less...
natural. Yeah, that's fucking naturally what's going to happen when a team's under pressure.
Okay, well, JB, can I pose a question to you?
Yeah.
If the car isn't great, right, as we're pretty well aware the car is not fantastic.
Yeah, it's not last year. No.
Do you think that Daniel Ricciardo's being blamed a lot more than he should be?
No. Because Lando Norris is whipping his ass in the same car.
Yeah.
But do you think it's a blight on McLaren for not going down? Like, if you're going to bring Daniel Ricciardo in, who was coming in as a number one driver, and you're paying him handsomely, and you're telling him you're going to, you know, give him a car to win a world championship, and then you backflip and go the other route just because Norris started off having a few more better, whatever you want to call it, better prospect, you go that way. Is it then still Ricciardo's fault that you've not given him the car he likes to drive? Because it's clear as well. It's not a car Ricciardo likes to drive. It's not a style of driving he enjoys.
It was the same last year.
Right, so that's what I'm saying. Like, why did you bring him in then if you're like not gonna?
Well, can I just
because Carlos Sainz could drive the hell out the wheels of the thing.
Well, that's the thing. Like, you also got to remember last year's cars were just modifications on the previous year's car, and McLaren was under the pump last year because all their tokens were taken off them so that they could modify the car to put the Mercedes power unit in.
Yeah.
So fundamentally, the 2020 car, 2020 car was built around Lando Norris and Carlos Sainz.
Yeah.
The 2021 car was still that same car that was modified to fit the McLaren, the Mercedes engine in there.
Yep.
So it's still a car that's fundamentally designed around Carlos Sainz and Lando Norris, despite the fact Carlos Sainz fucked off to Ferrari.
Yes.
This year, the car should have been designed around both drivers, but I think it's been designed a little bit more towards Lando Norris. But if Daniel Ricciardo is the quality driver that he is getting paid to be, he should be able to adapt to the car.
He's had 2 years to adapt to it. Carlos Sainz could drive it. Lando Norris can drive it. Daniel Ricciardo can't seem to drive it.
Yeah,
it's a small fucking sample window, but Carlos Sainz and Lando Norris have fucking got it and figured it out. And Daniel Ricciardo has had 2 shots in 2 different iterations of the car and hasn't figured it out.
Yeah, it's very, very reminiscent
of... At
of...
some fucking point, you have to fucking... Lando Norris is getting results. Yeah. He got them last year, he's getting them this year. At some fucking point, like, Daniel's just going to have to adapt.
Yeah.
Or perish. It's fucking... Yeah, okay, maybe. Maybe it's not entirely Daniel's fault. He's given a car he can't fucking drive. But as long as Lando's bringing home that same car consistently ahead of him, you can't fix you can't fix what's not broken.
I agree with everything you're saying, but I think McLaren should have designed it more in tune with what Ricciardo wanted. If you're going to bring a guy in and pay him and all the rest of it, that's what you were going for.
If the car was to the point where Lando Norris is fucking struggling in it too, then they'd probably look at it. But
I just think what I'm trying to say is, like, I'm fine with them going the Lando Norris route the way it's going because Danny Rick hasn't adapted. But in my mindset, I think when you were bringing in Ricciardo for a 3-year deal, paying him $15 million a year or whatever it was, and you know what Ricciardo was at that time, 8-time winner, you know, one of the probably top 5 drivers on the grid.
Yeah.
And you've got Lando Norris who's still up and coming and learning. Why aren't you banking on the guy you're bringing in paying to do it and going, well, we're going to build around what your input is, what you want, blah, 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 and Lando Norris can adapt. Do you know what I mean?
Who's to say this car hasn't?
Yeah,
what's to say this is a brand new fucking car with a brand new concept and brand new problems that they've figured out that it's got no mechanical grip.
Yeah.
You think they wanted to build a fucking car that's got no mechanical grip?
No, I think their design philosophy is flawed. I think that's what it is, and they're just trying to. They need to figure
It's
it out.
obviously it may be flawed, and I guess Daniel Ricciardo must be dealing with the flaws
I guess
worse
so.
than Lando. I don't have a fucking answer, man. Like,
I think two things I want to say is that this kind of reminds me of Alan Prost in '91 driving for Ferrari, where he called the car a truck
yeah,
because he couldn't adapt to how the car was made.
yeah.
Like-
I don't think I've heard Daniel Ricciardo publicly complain about the car. The person complaining more publicly about the car is Lando Norris.
Yeah.
Lando Norris has fucking not been happy positive in the last 2 or 3 press conferences.
But has that got to do with maturity? Because Ricardo's more like been around longer, know not to sort of, when Norris is a bit of a spoiled kid.
I think
If your argument is that the car's built more towards Lando Norris, then why the fuck is Lando Norris bitching so much about the car? He's obviously not happy about it either.
because he wants it to be better, I guess.
So does Danny Rick, I guess.
Yeah, but like, it just comes down to what I said about maturity. Is that why Lando Norris is willing to say that? And he knows he's. Do you think Lando Norris has a bit of set of like he's a shoe-in at McLaren right now? He's not under the pressure Ricardo is.
He is the shoe-in at McLaren.
Right,
Because
so-
he gets the results.
Right, so that's why I guess he can say what you're saying at the press conference compared to Ricardo.
Yeah, but every time there's a press conference with Ricardo, they don't ask him about the car. They sit there and talk to him about his form
Yeah, he's driving.
and have a crack at his driving. If they asked him about the car, he'd probably sit there and say, look, the car's not great and we're trying to do the best we can with it.
I've seen him say that before, so
So,
he's definitely said the car's not up to scratch. He might not be going into as much detail as Lando Norris.
but
Yeah.
because all the questions are aimed at his form and his poor driving, for lack of a better term,
Yeah.
you know, the emphasis is being taken away from the car when it comes to the Ricardo interviews and aimed more at Ricardo. Same with whenever they interview Zach Brown or Andrea Seidel. It's more about Daniel Ricciardo and whether Daniel Ricciardo's doing the job. It's less about whether the car is a shitbox or a torpedo or whatever. It's more about Daniel Ricciardo this, Daniel Ricciardo that. Are you going to get rid of Daniel Ricciardo at the end of the season?
Look, he took the first step today. He beat Lando Norris on the line.
And
Rightly or wrongly, strategy or not, and he's got to fucking do it more consistently.
And I think if Daniel Ricciardo, if they've got an exit clause in that contract, if Daniel Ricciardo doesn't get better, Daniel Ricciardo needs to pull the trigger and say, look, I'm not mastering this car. I think I'd be better if I stepped away.
I honestly think a swap with Gasly would benefit him because he might go into a car he can drive better. That suits his style
but
better. Do you know what I mean?
Red Bull won't have him back in the
I
Red
know
Bull
that, but
system.
that might reignite his. Like, let's put it this way: him at McLaren, he's only going down,
Yeah.
right? So, what seat's going to? There's no top seat available. This is the highest seat he's going to get at the moment. So, why not go to a seat where he can show he's Daniel Ricciardo again, and then maybe wait for one of those top teams? Maybe Hamilton moves on, he jumps into Mercedes. He's not going to do it right now the way he's forming McLaren. But if he jumps in the AlphaTauri and drives like Gasly does, he's getting results like Gasly does. He puts himself back in that, that bracket of, okay, well, he's a top driver. We know he is. He's got the record to show it. He comes in,
But I don't think Mercedes would snag him, though. I think the only sort of top team that would touch Daniel Ricciardo next year would be Aston Martin.
Yeah, but I wouldn't consider them a top team.
No, but I mean,
That's what I mean. Like, every team other than McLaren is downwards on the grid.
Well, he's got to face the reality of that, though.
Yeah.
I mean, he had his shot when he was at Red Bull. Then he went to Renault.
He's made poor decisions jumping. And that's the tale of his career, unfortunately.
Yeah.
A great driver that just didn't get in the right seat at the right time. That was also due to his decisions to jump to other teams. I mean, at the end of the day, I understand why he left Red Bull because Verstappen was the golden boy, and that's 100% the way they went. But I'm sure he would still be doing better in that car. Like, if he had stayed in Red Bull, he might have still had a shot at a world championship.
Imagine if he was
1
still
year.
at Red Bull now.
That's what I
instead of
mean.
Sergio
He'd be
Perez.
in the battle. He'd be Perez in the battle right now, and that's
Yep.
better than where he's gone to by jumping elsewhere to be the focal number one. Like I said, I understand his decision making and doing it, and it's easy in hindsight to say, well, you shouldn't have done it, it didn't work, but that's the reality, it didn't work.
Yeah.
So,
All right. So, next news story. Mick Schumacher has been told by Gunther Steiner, stop crashing the car, or you're not getting another contract with us.
Fair enough. He split that car in half like fucking
Twice.
Yeah.
They're $1 million repairs each time, I think.
Yeah, he's costing the team a fair chunk of change.
Yeah.
However, he does bring in sponsors because he's got all of his dad's old sponsors.
Yeah, right.
So
That's great. Well, your sponsors can pay for the fucking cars they just broke.
I think they do.
Unfortunately, it's within the salary cap, so
Yeah.
stop spending all my fucking money on.
Yeah, someone else might pay for it, but it comes out of your salary cap.
Yeah, good. I mean, yeah.
I think he's got talent, but he's just got a. I think his biggest problem is his last name.
Oh, for sure.
That's his biggest problem, is that he's got the weight of the whole world on him to deliver and to be as good as his old man.
Yeah, that's a big chip to have on your fucking shoulder.
That is, But we'll see how he goes.
Yeah, I agree.
I think in a better car,
Yeah.
he'll get better results. But he's got to be able to provide. He's got to step up because
he's got to score a point.
Yeah, well, Kevin Magnussen was getting top 5 finishes earlier in the year, and he was nowhere.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, maybe it's another deal.
He can't be the only driver to not... He can't be in the same bracket as Latifi like he is right now, not having a point.
Yeah, exactly. You
In
can't
the car he's got.
if he's as talented as he fucking... I mean, he's F2 champion.
Yeah.
Or F2 runner-up, whatever
He was
was.
F2 champion. He was F3 champion as well.
So he's got talent, but, you got to start scoring points, man. You got to just
I think his
be
uncle...
patient.
I think his uncle has got to get in... Just calm him down a bit.
Yeah, he's just...
Because,
he's trying to do
clearly
too
his
much.
dad can't say anything, but... I mean, his uncle was F1. Yeah, he's won races in F1.
Yeah.
Next one. Nicholas Latifi. He's been told to stop crashing his car too. But the rumours are... So the rumour was that he was going to be losing his seat at the end of the year. Now there's rumours swirling that he could be out of his seat by Hungary.
And God, I hope so.
And Longhorn celebrates.
Oh, gosh, because I know who it's apparently going to be, which excites me.
Yes, it's probably going to be Oscar Piastri that replaces him.
Pull the trigger and do it now.
Yeah, why wait?
Why? Why wait?
Why wait till the summer break? Let's do it now.
Latifi hasn't shown you anything in all this time. He showed you nothing this last race.
You know what he showed you? How
Move
deep
on.
your pockets are.
Yeah, that's it. He showed you you're going to run out of salary cap before the end of the year if you keep him in the car.
Particularly for a team like Williams that, despite the fact they've got Dorilton Capital backing them now, and like they are the Mercedes B team, every dollar counts.
Yeah,
Every dollar is worth $1.
it is like that, but...
In fact, every dollar is worth $2. If he keeps crashing, that's a lot of money that's not being left on the table. It's just being chucked in the bin.
Yeah, exactly.
As we all look straight at JB when we say that. That's his big saying.
No, I hope
Money
it,
on the table.
I hope pull it sooner rather than later. In my opinion,
Yeah.
give him if you're gonna give him to Canada because he's home race or whatever. Like after this week, doesn't do anything. Gone. I'd pull him now, but it's not. I'm not in charge.
Yeah, I think they're giving him till Hungary.
Oh, why? What are you going to see if he can make 16th?
No, because after Hungary is the mid-season break.
Oh, right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, he has to be. Yeah, pull the trigger. It's done, I think. And I know you said every dollar counts, but we have got a backing in Dorilton Capital that has said we don't need to have pay drivers anymore. We do want to progress to a team that has the best talent in, not just because they're paid to be, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, exactly. Paid drivers need to become a thing of the past.
They do.
I'm hoping the salary cap era sort of curbs that.
Yeah.
But we'll fucking see, because there's so much talent.
Well, drivers aren't counted in the salary cap.
I thought they were.
No, they're not.
Then what the fuck was Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen complaining about the other day?
Because they don't want drivers to be a part of the salary cap.
Yeah, there was discussions that they were going to be.
Yeah, there was discussions that it was going to be included in the salary cap.
Yeah, right.
So the smaller teams can afford like a Lewis Hamilton or whatever.
Yeah, right.
But the simple fact is, I don't think so. I don't think that's fair.
No, I'm happy for the teams to be able to pay what they want for whatever driver.
Yeah.
It'll be like the F1 game where it does like random mid-season changes and all of a sudden Lewis Hamilton's driving a Williams. Fucking Daniel Ricciardo's at Ferrari and fucking Carlos Sainz is at Mercedes and it's just like, where am I?
What is going on?
What day is it? bizarro land.
Right. So I think that's all of the news stuff. And I did have a segment blocked out here, but Barry's not here, so we're not going to hear Barry's segment. And I don't think you've got anything to rant about.
No, not this week.
No, I defended McLaren off from you guys. I'm good.
Yeah.
I was in the middle. I was in the middle, all right?
I was just trying to be devil's advocate too. I'm not
No,
trying
you
to...
were just being the fucking devil. With your fucking pitchfork poking him, going, say something so I can attack you. Yeah, I'm going to attack.
Only saying how it is.
Yeah, look, no one's fucking happy with
He's already been attacked tonight by the
At
fucking
the end of the
ice
day,
cream guy.
I go for Williams, for God's sake. Don't even ask me about my team.
Yeah, the ice cream guy's already had a shot at the Eels. Now you're here having a shot at McLaren. It's good.
All right, well, JB, you can do the driver standings.
All right, 2022 driver standings after the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. In first place is Red Bull's Max Verstappen on 150 points. Second is Red Bull Sergio Perez on 129 points. Third is Ferrari Charles Leclerc on 116 points. Fourth is Mercedes George Russell on 99. Fifth is Ferrari Carlos Sainz on 83. Sixth is Mercedes Hamilton on 62. Seventh is Lando Norris on 50. Eighth is Alfa Romeo's Valtteri Bottas on 40 points. Ninth is Alpine's Esteban Ocon on 31 points. And 10th is Pierre Gasly Alpha Tauri on 16 points, which still scratching my head that 16 is like the 10th point scoring position. And all they've got is 16 points. That's weird.
Yeah, well, what's really sort of coming to the fore is between second down to fifth is like 50-point gap.
Yeah.
Yeah, but from Perez to Carlos Sainz, there's if Leclerc keeps having shit weekends, there's a good chance Russell's going to pass him.
Yep.
Yeah, well, Russell still hasn't gone out of the top 5. Still.
Because all he
Mr.
does is
Consistent.
finish in the top 5.
Yeah.
And Gasly is actually tied with Fernando Alonso.
I was about to say Fernando Alonso's driven very well the last 2 races.
And Kevin Magnussen is only 1 point behind them,
Because he was 10th.
as is
Last
Daniel
week.
Ricciardo.
There you go. Ricardo making moves.
And Sebastian Vettel he's got 13 points. He's in 14th. Yuki Tsunoda has got 11 points. He's in 15th. Albon is 16th with 3. Stroll is 17th with 2. Zhou Guanyu is 18th with 1. And then you've got Mick, Nico, and Latifi with Zut.
Did Daddy pay for those points that Stroll's got?
Probably.
Or did he actually earn that? Did he get them in a race?
That was a
I
bribe.
can't remember.
I think he got like 2 10th places,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, I think he did.
All right. And Longhorn, you can do the team one.
All right. The team standings. In the lead, we've got Red Bull Racing with 279 points. And in second, we've got Ferrari with 199 points. In third, we have Mercedes with 161 points. And then a big jump down to fourth with McLaren with 65 points. In fifth, we've got Alpine with 47 points, who have moved up a spot over the next team, and Alfa Romeo in sixth with 41 points. In seventh, we have AlphaTauri with 27 points. In eighth, we have Haas with 15 points. Tied on 15 points in ninth, we have Aston Martin. So, little bit of a battle going on there. And then, dead last, woohoo, we have Williams with 3 points.
That's almost a 100-point blowout from Red Bull to Ferrari.
Yeah, it's
And
getting
a
big
100
pretty
point
quick.
blowout from Mercedes to McLaren. Like,
Yeah.
That's a-
Shit, I
that's a-
didn't even notice that.
Look, that's
That's
what I
a
was saying.
that's a 3-horse race.
Yeah.
I, I honestly thought it was going to be closer between Mercedes and McLaren. So
Well, we got a fundamentally fucked car. Although, despite the fact we keep finishing behind AlphaTauri, we're fucking way ahead of them in the point, and Alpine too. Considering
Yeah,
the
well,
fact at the
I feel-
moment both those cars are inherently better than the McLaren.
For some reason, I feel like Alpine have been consistently better than their points say.
Yeah. Well, Fernando Alonso has been consistently better, and he's not in the top 10.
Yeah.
Like, it just feels like they've been better.
Yeah, it
but
must.
they're just not. But the problem is they're only scoring 2-3 points at a time.
Yeah, I think that's what's happening. I think there's like the top 6 is locked out every week between Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes,
Yeah.
and then it's whoever gets that 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and Alonso seems to be always the next best of.
Yeah,
So he's accumulating 2 or 3 points every week.
love that McLaren's got 65 points and Lando Norris has 50 of those himself.
Yep.
Yeah, it's true.
That fucking proves my point about the car. Or maybe proves your point about the car. I don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah, well, it's kind of sad watching Haas tumble down the order because
They've
they
had
were
15.
fifth.
They've had 15 points since like Melbourne.
Yeah, they literally have.
And
Yeah,
they fucking stopped, and all of that's K-Mag.
yeah, yeah.
And same with
sad.
Alfa Romeo, like they've got 41 points. Like,
Valtteri Bottas was beating the Mercedes not that long ago.
Yeah,
yeah,
and now he was struggling to get out of Q1.
Yeah,
yeah.
Bit sad.
it's a quick evolving sport.
Right. Well, we've got Canada next week at the Circuit de Villeneuve.
Yeah, for the first time in 2 fucking years. Although it's gonna be a fucking 2 a.m. start.
Is it?
Yeah, because I remember the Canada Grand Prix used to be on the back when we had the Queen's birthday long weekend on the same this weekend.
Yeah.
It used to be this weekend, so you could stay up late and watch it. But it's moved a week, and Queensland moved their Queen's holiday to a
We
different
might have to
weekend.
just watch it before the potty.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's fucking like super late at night. It's like Houston and fucking
Yeah,
Mexico.
sounds about right. Be the same time zone as America.
Yeah.
I do love that the promo video they showed at the end of the last race. The main thing they always show to promote the Canadian F1 is Robert Kubica's massive stack.
Yeah.
That is a pretty impressive fucking stack, to be fair.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
was.
mean, it's not like his rallying accident, but, you know.
Still pretty spectacular.
You know, the reason his fucking hands fucked is not from that massive Formula One crash. It's from the fucking rally accident.
Yeah, they always show, you know, highlights of that.
And Sebastian Vettel spinning out and Jenson Button winning that race from last.
Yeah,
Just go back
I
to
watched
Kubica.
that race the other day. It goes for 4 hours
yep.
because 2 red flags because of the rain.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a testament to Kubica that he's still around in Formula One. I'm pretty sure he's a reserve driver somewhere still, isn't
Yeah,
he?
he's a reserve driver for Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, considering he's had that accident, like, it must be a testament to how good a driver he was and how much he must be able to input to
He
the car.
could have been world champion.
well,
with
Yeah,
that.
he must have had that talent.
Put it this way, when he had his accident, he was actually tipped to replace... was it? Yeah, he was tipped to go to Ferrari and replace Felipe Massa.
Wow. Yeah, right.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
world champion material. Like, he
Yeah.
definitely could have been up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was good.
Yeah.
He was good. But like he had his accident and they ended up replacing Massa with Kimi Räikkönen.
Who went on to be world champion.
Yeah,
No,
well.
no. This was after he won world title. This is 20.
It's his second stint.
2014.
Yeah, back in fucking when Alonso, like, bottled 2 championship attempts.
Oh, is this
And
when
then-
Massa went to Williams?
Yeah, and that's when Ferrari gave him the F14T with the aardvark nose, the first year of the turbo hybrids.
Yeah, that dog box.
Oh, yeah.
They were all,
Because
they were all fucking dog boxes, to be fair.
Yeah, but it was the only car that didn't look like it had a fucking dildo on the front of it.
Yeah, that was a fucking hideous era.
Yeah, that was a fad.
We fucking don't like going back to that era.
And like all the cars sounded like Dyson vacuum
That was the
cleaners.
last. That was the last year that McLaren had its initial run on Mercedes engines too.
Yep.
I remember K-Mag got 3rd in fucking, and I think Jenson Button got 2nd in Australia, and then that was the end of it. Like they were shit for the rest of the year, and then came the fucking Honda era, which we'll never speak of.
GP2 engine.
How good was that Honda engine? says every Red Bull fan.
Yeah, well, the Honda engine's fucking fantastic now, isn't it? Maybe McLaren should have stuck to their guns instead of going to Renault.
Bring Adrian Newey back. He
Yeah,
knows,
bring
he
Adrian
knows how to
Newey.
design a car.
Yeah, but he also designed the M14, MP14. That was like super quick but super unreliable.
Oh, you win some, you lose
A
some.
bit like the Ferrari.
Which one was the 14?
That was 2001. 2001.
Because
Mika
I
Hakkinen.
think it was the 2003 car was the previous year car but modified.
Yeah, and then the 2005 car was the same thing with Kimi Räikkönen there. It was like the fastest car on the grid when it was working.
Or when he didn't flat spot his tyres and cause the suspension to snap
Exactly.
because they couldn't change tyres that year.
Exactly.
But the,
McLaren missed out on like 2 world
but
championships.
the 2003 car, I think it was, he designed the car and Kimi Räikkönen tried it and crashed it in testing and said that car is fucking undrivable.
Yeah.
And they had to use a modified version of the previous year's
Yeah, it was
car.
the B, the M14B. Yeah.
Was it the B or the C?
I think it was the B. No, maybe the B was the test car and it was the C that he drove. I have heard the story about it. It was on one of the Beyond the Grid podcasts. It was fucking rocket, but it was so dangerous
Yeah.
and unreliable.
So,
They reckon it was the fastest car never made.
yeah.
They reckon it was a fucking rocket, but it just was undrivable.
So next week we've got Canada, which we will be back for. We will be back for that
Yeah.
one.
Yes.
And for me, it's always like the start of, right, now we're getting into the good races.
Yeah.
You know, not that I'm a fan of Silverstone, but we've got Canada, we've got Austria, we got Paul Ricard, we've got Hungary. Always enjoy Hungary for some reason.
Yeah,
Hungary's good.
Hungaroring's a fun track.
And then we got our mid-season break,
Yeah.
and then we've got the really good tracks.
Spa.
Spa.
Monza.
Zandvoort, Monza.
We've had Monza, haven't we? Oh,
No,
we
that was
haven't.
Imola.
We've had
That's
Imola.
right. We had Imola. Yep.
Singapore, Japan,
Yes.
and then we're back in America.
Boom, boom.
Yeah, but we're back for like Mexico and Brazil, and then Abu Dhabi.
There's a track where I think that the Ferrari engine really is going to go bang phooey is Mexico.
Yeah, that high altitude shit's gonna fuck them.
It'd be funny though if they win the race and the Red Bull conks out.
I hope not. I want Sergio
I hope
Perez
so.
to.
Yeah.
I want Sergio Perez to win Mexico. Could you imagine that?
That'd be awesome.
They'd be fucking nuts.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be fucking cool.
All right, I'll
All right.
quickly do our plugs, eh?
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't forget to subscribe, follow, hit the bell, however you listen to us. Give us a like, give us some comments, a rating, and yeah, pass us around. And don't forget to hit a Twitter up, the F1 Chat 1. Don't forget the 1.
Yeah, I was up all night on that bad boy giving my race notes out, so
That's
my
right.
race notes, if you want to see my race notes before you hear them the next day, it's
Get
up
on-
there
get
on
on it.
Twitter. On
In
the
the
Twitter
Twitter-sphere.
machine. Actually got a bit of interaction, which was good.
Yes.
Yeah?
I seen you had a poll up the other day that got a bit of a...
Yeah. Trying to grow it.
Wasn't just me voting.
No, there was a few. I
There
got
was a
like
couple.
10 or 15 votes, which
Yeah.
was good.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Twitter just...
It's a cesspool, but you know what? It's all right. It's
Yeah.
all right for like...
I got to admit, I just like enjoying getting on there and trolling Vince McMahon and a YouTube gamer called Low Tier God.
Yeah, I like getting on there because unlike Facebook and Instagram, it's completely uncensored.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good for those morning commutes to work.
All right. So you got any? You've done your plugs?
Yeah, at the F1 Chat 1, because I'm running that thing, you know, F1 Chat on YouTube and Spotify. And for anyone who wants to listen to the Eels rant, the Parramatta's podcast should be out on Thursday. So if you want to hear Angry Johnny, he'll have a lot to say.
So that's all the plugs. We've plugged it.
We've plugged it.
We've
We've
plugged
plugged
it.
it.
We've plugged it like the fucking duct tape that held Yuki Tsunoda's wing. It's been fucking plugged.
All right. So until next week for the Canadian F1, this has been the F1 Chat on behalf of Longhorn, JB, Barry Enchilada, and myself. Thank you for listening, and it is goodbye.